worthless crap coming out of our mouths.
We should start a podcast.
Yeah. People want to hear us talk, right?
Yeah. We've got important things to say, and people will want to hear it.
Our amazing thoughts about Star Wars and such.
Oh, very amazing thoughts.
All right, today we're going to cover Ahsoka Season 1, Episode 3. Before we do that, what everybody else been up to? What have we been watching? Anything interesting? Anything you want to talk about?
No? I gotta look at my things. Yeah, go ahead. Anyone?
I'll delve back into my anime side of things.
Lucas's anime corner.
I'm anime corner.
Do we need to make a jingle for that?
We should.
Just me. Nobody else here watches any anime. I just recently watched a Crunchyroll original, which they have like the monopoly on animes, like Netflix used to. And I just watched Tower of God, which hate the name for religious reasons. But it was a phenomenal first season. But it happened to actually be the prologue to the real show that's coming out. And actually, the second season, or more like the first season, that was more like season 0, is coming out in a couple months. It's supposed to be. And it was just like, I watched it, and when I say like plot twist at the end, like you do not see it coming. And it was the prologue.
So what else? You anybody else watch anything? I think Jered's got something.
Yeah. So the first one will be for both you and I, actually, mainly. So Special Ops Lioness.
Okay, yeah.
Because I wanted to talk about last time. We kind of, I know we need to move on anyway because we had 2 episodes to go over with Ahsoka, but I wanted to mention the show because, man, I just love it. And it's actually like the best show that he's done, I think.
Well, I haven't seen any of the other shows because I've never watched any of the Yellowstone or any of that stuff, so I'm not familiar.
I've seen all of them. Actually, no, I have seen all of them. I don't like Yellowstone. I like all the other ones. What? You don't think so?
You don't like Yellowstone?
No, I don't. You saw a little bit of Lioness when I was watching it, but
they're very different shows.
Oh yeah,
very different shows. Yellowstone's amazing, and I was one of those people in the beginning that was like, "Oh, I'm so sick of everybody talking about Yellowstone," and then I actually sat down and watched it, and I love that show.
Okay,
it's one of my I cannot wait for the next season type shows.
I haven't watched any of it, so I'm not gonna.
And Lioness is very good. Yeah. From the episodes that I've watched with Jered, I really like it. I don't know if it's his best.
I think so. Well, because I've seen the other ones too. Mayor Kingstown, was it Tulsa King? There's
also the other Yellowstone, like the 19.
Yeah, those two.
Yeah, the spinoffs are
They're
amazing.
Very good too. Yeah, he does good stuff.
The dude is producing just quality shows.
He is, yeah.
Lioness is good though, and just a tidbit. It's all filmed in our general area in Maryland and Virginia.
Okay, I was wondering about that. Yeah. All of it is? Or just... Okay, because I was wondering, because you were talking about the building.
Yeah, so, you mean the fort?
Yes.
Yeah. Fort Ritchie is where they filmed the...
Fort Ritchie, yeah.
Where the CIA camp was.
Right.
But even the other stuff, I know they filmed all throughout D.C. and Northern Virginia and Maryland for the other stuff. I mean, one of the episodes had someone driving across the Bay Bridge, and
I did see that. Yes. Yeah, and I was wondering if it was. I was like, yeah, this does look.
I mean, it's the real Bay Bridge.
Yeah.
The drone shot is. I mean, the close up might have been a different bridge, but
yeah,
but it was probably local because I know the production was all here, and I even know some people. Katie, that was actually in one of the scenes in episode 3. In the background is a bartender.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
So. Yeah, I had to pause it to catch her because it's like really in the background. But somebody that was in a hospice commercial that I filmed.
Nice.
She's a local actress in the DC area, and she's in it.
So that wouldn't be counted as like an extra, or would it?
It would be an extra because you don't have lines.
Oh,
or
I guess
anything.
you're
just an extra.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. And that, to me, that puts it a little over the edge. It was like that with House of Cards, like just like being set and being. There's something that's like close to home about it. Also, and then you're watching a good story that just kind of edges it into a little bit more close to my heart.
Well, also I just wanted to shout out that basically the two main girls. So Zoe Saldana, Claudia corrected me because I was saying it wrong.
She's got the squiggly over the end. That's
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah, but the other girl too, and I had to look up her name to pronounce it right also. So Lisla de Oliveira. I think that's it. But it doesn't look like that. So I had to make sure because she hasn't even been in that many things when I looked up her IMDb, but man, she's amazing in this too. Both of them. I think this is like some of the best. I mean, Zoe Saldana has been in a lot of stuff, but I think this is one of the best things she's done too.
Yeah.
I have to say, I've never in my life wanted to beat down on somebody's child like I did Zoe Saldana's child in this show, Lioness.
Yeah.
Her daughter, her oldest one,
Oh, yeah.
needs her butt popped.
Yeah. Well,
and then some.
Well, not to spoil anything, but I don't know how far you watched.
Oh, no, I saw the
You
last
saw
one.
that one.
Yeah.
Well, no, not the last one. There's more. We haven't watched it. I think
Is
you're
there?
actually ahead of us,
no.
Josh.
Yeah. Well, though we're not fully caught up.
Okay, we might be around the same spot then. But
Yeah. Anyway.
yeah, but
Are you talking about the hospital scene?
Yes.
Yeah, we saw that.
that's the last
Yeah.
one we saw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like a good moment for me to watch because before that I was just like,
Yeah. No, totally.
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 Just smack her.
But I mean, but
something.
in reality, like if you had that, if you had a mom that was not that involved for good reason, not just you know,
Right.
I feel like that would be a pretty obvious. Like I could see it being like someone that was that just you know acting out and intentionally.
Sure. She's obviously starving for attention.
Right.
But then I'm like, okay, so the parents find out that we're just going to talk about it.
Spoilers.
The parents talk about, they found out she was pregnant
Yeah.
in the hospital.
Yeah.
And my mind went back to the scene where she's making out with that boy on the couch in secret, you know, and her mom comes home and catches them. And she talks to her husband, is like, your daughter's was in there getting groped by this boy. And he's like, oh, we have a rule, you know, anything over the clothes is fine. I was like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. What dad would say that, right?
Are you joking?
know,
No
that
wonder
was
she's
weird.
pregnant. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a
But
weird
I-
line, but for the most part, especially in that episode, when the stuff they say, both of her parents to her, I'm like these are some good. They're dropping some knowledge on her.
Yeah.
It was really good, but
All the stuff in the hospital, I think it was
Very
like
good,
the
yeah.
stuff that's like
Yeah.
just
I needed
we're
to
not-
see that.
we're not going to treat you like a kid anymore. Here's
Yep.
the truth of being an adult. And yeah. So I'm going to do a little shout out for, been watching, Better Off Ted. It's a
Oh, nice.
Old, I had seen it before, but just hadn't watched in a long time. It's on Hulu. And, you know, that show still holds up. It's still funny.
it's still really good.
It's
Yeah.
still really good. If you haven't watched it,
I
check
wish
it
it
out.
wasn't canceled.
Yeah, it's one of the, I think it actually was I might have been might be mistaken, but I feel like it might have been a casualty of the last writer's strike.
Dang, it was that long ago?
Yeah, it's an old
Wow.
show. Yeah,
Man. Yeah.
you got something else over there?
Yeah, the other one I'm going to say, so one for Claudia and I I'll do in a second because that'll be the last one. But one thing I just want to mention is because since this is still relatively recent to when Oppenheimer came out, and I was seeing on social media a lot of people being like, I need more Oppenheimer. Even though it's 3 hours, they're like, people really wanted more. And I even saw people say like, man, I wish this was a show. There was a Manhattan show.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's very good. I saw it when it first came out, so I want to shout it out. If anyone wants more Oppenheimer, the show's just called Manhattan. It was on a really dumb channel that no one watched, and it got canceled. But it's still 2 seasons. It's really good. But it is on Hulu now, so now anyone can see it. But it's very good, and it's all Robert Oppenheimer's in it. He's not the main character, but it's
It's all about the Manhattan Project.
Yep, it's very good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Claudia, do you want to talk about Andor?
Oh, are we talking about that now?
Did you watch it all?
Okay, no, I didn't watch
She
all
started
of it.
it.
Ooh.
Oh,
We
you
watched the
started
first
it.
3 episodes.
First 3 episodes, okay.
Okay.
And I was like, hey, I'll watch it with you since I'm like, I'd like to see a second time, see if I changed my opinion at all. But yeah, I wanted to hear what you thought. Well, yeah, we did 3, right?
So what's your initial thought on the 3? Those were the ones that it launched with. It
Yeah,
launched
and then
with
we
3
stopped
episodes.
there.
Yep.
Yeah.
The first episode was good. I liked it. I was like, oh, I don't understand the boring concepts that Jered said in the last podcast at all. And then episodes 2, I was like, I get it now. I was very bored the whole episode. And then episode 3 was kind of like a little bit of a hook back in for me, where I'm like, I would watch more of this. So I do like it. It's definitely the weaker show of the ones so far. I haven't seen the whole thing, so I can't, give like it's the weakest show of all the Star Wars shows. But it's starting off with the first 3. It feels like the weaker show for me. But it is very visually stunning. Like it's cool. I love the actors in it right now too.
Yeah, definitely.
Like the characters are great. And I'm excited to see kind of where that goes. Man, that guy, what's his name? That takes his job way too seriously.
Karn?
Is that his name?
Well, I mean, that's his last name in the show. Yeah.
Sucks.
Yeah.
I hate
Because
that
isn't
guy.
his name Cyril? And I'm like, this is like the
Cyril
worst name.
Figgis.
Yeah, I always think of
No.
Archer, but
Yeah, no. I mean, as
You
soon as I
really
saw
hate
his
that guy.
face, I wanted to
Cyril
punch him in
Karn.
the face.
yeah, okay, that's what it is. Yeah,
Cyril
yeah.
Karn.
I'm pretty sure.
Karn. Yeah. No,
yeah.
don't like him at all. Hate him.
Regardless, in general, though, it cannot be the weakest Star Wars show with Boba Fett being
Yes.
in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Even if you think it's boring.
Yeah.
and I would say aspects of the Obi-Wan show too were pretty bad.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I didn't see the Obi-Wan show.
Yes, you did. We watched
Did
it.
we?
Mm-hmm.
That's how bad
that's
it was.
okay. I was gonna say,
Wow, you don't remember it at all. Dang. Yeah, we did.
So I think the
Oh,
funny thing
no.
was, after our conversation, like right after last week, one of the podcasts I listened to that did actually discussed the episodes of Ahsoka, the first 2. And the one guy on there, he played a audio clip of the dialogue in Ahsoka, and was like, because he has the thing, he drives him crazy because they just like talk slow and like make everything sound like it's important, and it's not. And there's so much gap in time, and that the other host thought it was over and started to talk, and then he's like, no, it's not over. That much.
Oh.
And then,
Wow.
then he played another clip that wasn't quite as extreme, and then he played a clip from Andor where everyone talked like real people and didn't, and like, yeah, and it's
It's a big difference, yeah.
it's a big difference. But I just thought it was funny because after our conversation,
Yeah.
where I was like, these guys are literally arguing. Well, the other guy wasn't like saying that Andor wasn't good. The one guy was like, I don't like Ahsoka as much, and this is what bothers me. And Andor's writing and acting was so good, and then he played those clips to prove his
Yeah.
point.
Well, I agree with the dialogue aspect. I didn't get into it last week, but specifically the first episode, like there was many times where the dialogue was just like dragging, because, and I think that they're trying to really make our powerful female leads very powerful feeling because of our current world. And to do that, they intentionally made them talk about everything like it was super serious. And like, yes, okay, great, they can handle a serious conversation. That's awesome. Love that for you. But not everything is that serious. Not everything. Yeah, but I was like the first, I think it was even like it was the first dialogue of that Ahsoka had with why am I always bad with the names?
Sabine?
I'm terrible with names.
Not Sabine.
Hera.
Yeah, Hera. She their first conversation almost felt awkward, like because they were just like, it was like
So long pauses.
They were like talking about so much serious stuff, but like then they were like looking at each other like waiting for the other person to say something serious. That's how it felt, in my opinion. I don't know. That was the worst scene.
It's like it was
for me.
There was like a couple moments where it was like kind of but most of the time it didn't bother me.
Right. It didn't bother me.
Yeah.
I just like noticed it and I was like, but I didn't think it was too big of a deal.
Yeah.
But that's why I think that they're doing it.
Okay. It is
This
all
third
very
episode felt a lot
serious,
better though.
Yeah. Yeah.
I agree.
Well, I'll open with this episode felt extremely short
Yes.
when you had 2 other episodes to watch, but they were also considerably longer.
Correct.
Yeah.
Like this episode, like it finished, I was like, oh,
Same. I did the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
And it kind of left off in a weird spot.
yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know, I kind of like to just general thoughts, and then we'll go to spoilers. So I don't want to get specifics, but it does leave off in a weird kind of cliffhanger.
True. Do you have the director and all that. I was
Yeah,
wondering about that.
Steph Green again, who directed the second episode.
Second one, okay.
She also directed this episode, and of course written by Dave Filoni. I did look because last time we talked about, and IMDb, it mentions George Lucas as a writer too, but it does not mention that in the actual credits of the show. I watched it again. So I think it must it did say after written by Dave Filoni, then it said characters created, by George. So I think that's why IMDb is grouping them together as writers, but in the list, like in the visual credits in the show, it doesn't actually have him as a writer. It just has him as co-creator of the characters.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Okay. I was gonna say that's crazy if he actually came back and did any
so
writing.
I don't think he's doing any work.
No.
Yeah. Kind of like how Stan Lee is in every Marvel.
Right. It says based on the characters.
Right.
Created by.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
What did you think?
Yes.
So his name is Hu Yang. In the last podcast, we were trying to figure out how to pronounce it. They didn't enunciate the who part in his name in the first two episodes, right?
So.
I'm not crazy.
I think they did. I think that's why it's hard to read.
I feel like
it doesn't.
It did sound like they said it in a different way in either episode 1 or 2.
It sounded like they really enunciated Hu Yang as his name in this episode, and I don't remember it being pronounced like that in the last
Yang
two.
When they
Yang, or like they just said it quickly, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it is Hu Yang. That's how you say it.
Yang.
Yes, and we said I think it's Yang in the last one, which that's what it sounded like to me when the first episode.
Maybe they were notes. There was notes from the executives.
Maybe.
Need to enunciate better his name. So then when they filmed, no.
Okay. Hu Yang.
Yeah. Hu Yang. When she was saying it like that, and I was like, okay, that makes sense. Anyway, I just wanted to know if anybody else thought that. Oh,
he's so good.
He's my favorite character.
He is the bomb.
Yeah, he's great. Still not over Sabine's hair.
Oh, it's
nope.
terrible. I don't like it at all. There's not a good angle. No. You know what I mean? Like you see, she kind of looks good from. No, there isn't.
No.
Her hair was so much better.
So much better longer. Yeah.
So, any other general thought? I mean, it was a good episode. Thoughts, it was like I agree with you guys. It fell short. But overall, it was fun. It was a fun episode.
Yeah, definitely.
Had a little bit of New Hope vibes in there a couple times.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right, so let's just get into spoilers. Opening scene. What do we think?
I have a big thing with this, so I'm going to hold off a little bit because this is the training scene, right?
Yeah. That's Sabine's training first with Hu Yang, and then
Hu Yang,
and then Ahsoka. Thoughts. Well, obviously,
I love Hu Yang's tough love thing that he has going on with Sabine. That's my favorite part of his.
Is Lily his programming?
I know.
He can't help himself.
He can't. It's just how. I love that.
That's what's great about it.
Yeah.
But it's definitely tough love because we all know that's not all programming with Star Wars robots or droids specifically.
Mm-hmm.
They all have personality.
They do for sure.
Otherwise, R2-D2 wouldn't have been the best R2 unit of all time.
Mm-hmm. Chopper's got a lot of personality.
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw a meme that was Choppenheimer, and it's just the same poster for Oppenheimer, and just because apparently I haven't seen all Rebels, but he actually has a high kill count. Chopper does.
Oh, really?
I don't know. Apparently, I mean I know R2
he's killed a fair share.
He's killed, but apparently Chopper. So he's
Chopper a
Choppenheimer.
menace.
Yeah, apparently. There's another big thing in this episode that I had no idea about, which I'm sure was in Rebels, and I had to look it up too. That we'll get to that because you and I both were like, "What?"
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah.
That's a little later. So
yeah. So I mean, the training felt like again, that was definitely one of the New Hope vibe things. Like it felt very reminiscent of Luke and Obi-Wan and the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
But yeah.
She even says at one point with the blast shield down, how am I supposed to see?
Yeah,
she even said it. I'm like, wow, like word for word.
Yeah, that wasn't subtle at all.
Yeah.
So you said you have a lot of thoughts on it?
Well, it's because they are talking about the different Jedi forms,
Yeah.
the stances. So I have a big thing about that I wanted to go through them because it's really interesting and there's a lot of different characters and stuff we can kind of see like what they've done. But
I'll just the only thoughts I had was initially I was like, oh, this felt very like overdone, right? The general idea of that scene, like I was like, this is like every time, right? But then the way it played out though, because it went a little longer, then some of that stuff in the second half of that scene, with the Ahsoka kind of like teasing her and trying to then it felt a little bit like, okay, this is different, not exactly the same, but the first part of it was literally, it felt like they just ripped it out of any other Star, the Star like New Hope basically. But
one thing I wasn't clear on is why. I mean, I'm sure we'll know once the season's done, but why she's so adamant on training Sabine, even though she is not very strong in the Force, Like, what is she really trying to draw it out of her? Like, I don't know.
Well, she said that the Force resides in all living things.
Yes.
And she said she's slightly Force sensitive, basically, because she even mentioned talent does play a factor, but training has a lot more. She doesn't think that she's ever going to be Jedi level, probably not even Padawan level, because she says that to Hu Yang specifically later, right after she's training.
When she makes it, she's like, well, you didn't have to tell her.
Yeah. And so I don't think I think she's just trying, because the Force can help you in very many ways. I mean, it's mysterious to most, and even to the people who know it best, it still has a mysterious element to it. The Force tells you strange visions. It lets you feel things that are going on around you without being able to see them. And those things can just help you in a life or death scenario. And yeah, she wasn't able to move the cup. So like, I'm glad she wasn't. I was going to actually be a little mad if she was able to move the
Me
cup.
too.
I was too.
I was thinking the
But
same
I think
thing.
they kind of did that on purpose.
Yeah.
Also, I love that they cut back to the cup before, like at the end. That was such a creative shot. And yeah, I don't think she's intentionally trying to train her to become a Jedi per se. Obviously, It wouldn't be a Jedi, but
Right.
I don't think that's her intention at all.
No. And she said that as much, right? She's like, well, non-traditional. She's like, and he kept being like, this is not the Jedi. And she's like, well, we're not, it's not the Jedi. I'm not, because she's not a Jedi anymore either.
Well, and then also you're saying like, more other people or more, even though all living beings technically have the Force, but more people are more gifted than others. Talent, like you said, also. Midichlorians is a big part of it as well.
We don't like to talk about this.
The midichlorian count. I have over 1 million midichlorians.
But yeah, it was cool though that she said that though, because I haven't thought about that in a while. When she specifically specified, she said technically all living beings, because the Force is like an energy, so technically, but then it's what you choose to do with it, but it is interesting to think about, like, even, I don't know, even just like the word like Jar Jar Binks, it's like technically as the Force, but like, yeah, I was trying to think of like the worst character in Star Wars. You know what I mean?
Jar Jar is my favorite character.
Okay, right.
A lot of people would speculate there's
Darth Jar Jar.
Yeah,
I know, I've seen that.
It's like the best running joke in Star Wars theories.
It is, yeah. He's like a Sith master.
Yeah, he is a Sith Lord. How's he not die, guys? How does he never die?
True.
Is he dumb or is he that good? When she was training Sabine and Ezra, Ahsoka, when she was training Sabine and Ezra, she also was, I'm trying to remember who she was talking to. I just saw this recently. She mentioned the Force count, or not the Force count, Midichlorian cow. She mentioned that
midichlorians?
the force resides in all living things.
Midichlorians.
Midichlorian?
It enrages so many people because there's like, that's why I like saying it because it's funny.
Oh, that's great. I'm glad you were able to say it so seriously.
Actually, it's midichlorians.
Yeah.
How many times can we say that in this
Literally,
podcast?
Anakin Skywalker was born
Yeah,
from the Force, like Jesus,
true. It's a perfect analogy.
except Darth Vader.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
not the same trajectory.
the same trajectory at all. Anyway, it might have even been. She was talking with Hu Yang. I feel like it was. It might have been. And I forgot her name again.
Hera.
Hera.
How could you forget Hera?
I mean, I will never
I know,
forget her
how could-
eyes,
yeah.
but her name, pretty easy to forget.
Her eyes.
Her eyes. Okay.
She might have been talking with Hera, and she was like, because Hera was saying stuff about how she shouldn't, that's not how you trained Ezra or whatever. Like, you didn't use sticks and like this, that, and the third. And then she was talking about how, the Force resides in all living things, but she doesn't have the same type of innate ability to use it. And so she was going with a different method. And then I think even Hu Yang might have been there, and he said something about it not being the Jedi way, like same exact thing. But that leads me into the reason why they did 2 episodes. The very end of the second episode of Ahsoka is a scene for scene, word for word adaptation of the end of Rebels. So they have that exact same scene in Rebels. And so that leads me to believe that's why they did 2 episodes, which would just answer one of our questions for last week.
Isn't she, or is this a different scene? Because I've seen the scene where she's in all white and they call her like Ahsoka the White, like Gandalf the White.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the scene you're talking about in Rebels? Because there's a scene, right, where she's like that.
I don't believe that's specifically. I'm
Okay.
talking about like when Sabine cuts her hair, walks up to the tapestry.
Sorry, that might be the end of Clone Wars. Sorry.
Yes, that is. Okay, that's yeah. Sabine walks up to the tapestry, and then Ahsoka standing behind her, and like they're like talking about how they're ready, and like she like touches where Ezra is and all that. That's in Rebels.
Gotcha. Okay.
And they just recreated the scene in Ahsoka. And so technically the first 2 episodes of Ahsoka lead up to and take place during the end of Rebels.
Okay.
And this 3rd episode actually takes place after that.
Actually,
So that's the continuation. Okay. Josh has got to get one in too.
yeah. No.
Oh, are you gonna get in a?
No.
Actually.
I haven't got one. That was just because he said it like twice in that sentence.
Well, do you guys really want me talking like that the entire time?
No, but it is funny.
Not really.
You gotta leave it sparingly because then it's
Exactly.
more funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Cool.
definitely.
So after any more about the opening
What are
scene?
you?
Well,
You're-
it kind of. I actually wanted to say that it kind of reminded me of that scene in Dune when he's doing his training in that
Oh, yeah.
little. Like when I was watching it, it reminded me of that scene where he's doing his, with
Gurney.
Gurney, yeah, and how he's still a little juvenile with his fighting, but there's some skill there, and
Sorry, I'm gonna make sure. Is it Gurney or is that Jason Momoa? Let me
I think
fact check.
Jason
I don't
Momoa
wanna-
does his training in the new Dune movie.
No, it's can't think of his name. Thanos.
No, you're right. You're right.
What
It
is what is that actor's name? I forget his name.
Ross Brolin.
yeah.
Josh Brolin. Yeah.
Josh.
I say Ross Brolin sometimes too. I'm like Josh Brolin. I get it mixed up too. Yes,
That's
Josh Brolin
It's a different person.
does his training. Yes,
That's a different person.
that is a whole. Yeah.
Shout out to Oysters, Clams, and Cockles.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Gurney. Yeah, is Josh Brolin. Yeah, and that's who's training with him at the
when he's
beginning.
doing his training. There were elements where it reminded me of Dune. And I pretty much everything you guys said has been covered, but I just wanted to add that.
Yeah.
To expand on the form and skill, like once she actually starts to feel the Force just enough that she can strike back, like she has good form. And I don't know if her first fight with Shin was something where she was just nervous because she hadn't picked up in a while. But her doing that, like, she had better form than when she fought Shin. And I don't know if that was because of the Force, and she could actually feel where she was coming, where Ahsoka was coming from, and that, like, allows you to strike more accurately, or what. Yeah, it's hard to say. But only time will tell.
Yeah. So next we go to the New Republic Senator idiots.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That guy that was like, all you want to do is just get resources to...
Man.
Yeah. That was stupid. But also, it's like a precursor to see how you would end up where then, like in Force Awakens, where they're even having to make a, new rebel alliance because even the New Republic is not, all that clean and
They're corrupt.
yeah, a little corrupt. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then of course, yeah. So, but yeah, it was annoying for sure.
It is. But we get to see Mon Mothma, which was cool.
Yeah. Yeah. A little bit older looking than she is in Andor, but
Yeah, that'd be.
But you haven't seen her in
I haven't
Andor
seen her
yet.
yet. No.
Yeah.
She's at Andor.
Yep.
I liked Hera's ability to stand her ground and like be like, "Did you fight in the war?"
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just sat
she
back
had solid
and
points.
She did.
You sat back and waited to see who won, and then you just sided with them.
Yeah, it bothered me so much. I know it bothered everybody. It's just like, are you hearing yourself? You're being so dumb right now.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah, but they still threw the realism of when he took a stab at Ezra right after she made such a good point. She like lost her cool just a
Yeah,
bit.
Yeah.
that was his intention.
Which is definitely the
for sure.
first time we saw her lose her cool. Really,
Yep.
like she's been pretty even between Ahsoka and Sabine, like being a little bit. There's some tension there. She was like the one that's kind of calm and,
Yeah.
kind of in between that. But yeah. So then we go to the ship, them coming in light speed and then coming out of light speed and finding your favorite gal.
Wait a second. Hera has a child?
Oh, right. Yeah.
I didn't want to
That-
skip that. I was like,
Yeah.
That's what we were going to mention. We had
What?
no idea about that.
I didn't know about that either, but
What?
his name is Jason?
Yeah. Well, for one, his name's Jason. For two, he is 100% white
Yeah.
Yeah.
with
So-
green hair. He's
okay,
got some green hair.
So I looked it up. It's Hera and Kanan's son. So they
Okay.
had a
Okay.
son. Yeah, I didn't know that. So that must have happened in Rebels.
But is that how that works?
I don't know.
In the Star Wars universe? I guess it does.
Apparently, it
So
is.
he's
how it
got
works.
natural green hair.
Yeah.
well, you get your skin color from one or the other. It doesn't necessarily.
Well, yeah, but then like he has no.
genes,
Yeah, I don't know. Just normally it's I feel like it'd be like some sort of mix of some kind.
Sometimes not.
No, I meant like he wouldn't just end up with green hair. Like that's
Yeah,
that's
true.
that's his traits from his mom.
They didn't want to have the kid to go through all that makeup.
Yeah.
Probably.
That's true.
It's
I didn't
cool,
think
though,
about that. They're probably just gonna
Yeah.
be like giving him the Twilight tentacle thing.
It takes long enough for, I'm sure for them to do all that with Hera.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool that he wants to be a Jedi, and
Mhm.
Kanan he was very powerful, which is cool. So it'd be cool if he kind of followed in his footsteps a little bit.
Yeah.
But I was surprised by that. I didn't know. That must be way later in Rebels. I didn't know
Yeah,
any of that.
no, I had no
At
idea.
first, I thought I misheard like him saying "mom." Like
Yeah,
I was
I
like,
know.
maybe he didn't say "mom," but then I was like, no. What else would it be?
Yeah, maybe he said hair. Oh wait.
Yeah, no. I was like,
Well, because Mom Martha asked her when they first get on, like about the kid and being on the ship,
oh,
and she's like, "Oh yeah, he's here around here somewhere." And then
I
one
just
of the
didn't
other
catch it.
senators is like, "Let's get to our business" or whatever.
yeah.
Yeah. So like,
We're already late. He
yeah,
said.
yeah, or something. Yeah. So space battle.
This was awesome.
Yeah.
That, I mean, the coolest.
Yeah.
One of the coolest scenes.
This felt very original.
Yep, that's what I was
trilogy.
just about to say. It
Yeah.
felt like an original trilogy fight.
Yeah, this is
In
the other
space.
New Hope vibes I was talking about.
100%.
Jumping into the gunner spot.
Yeah, the gunner
all
spot.
that, yeah.
Like so.
And then
Luke
even the
and
way
Millennium
she
Falcon.
cheered,
Yeah.
like when she,
Oh, yeah,
she
yeah.
that's like that's Luke. He's
Yeah.
like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was cool seeing it shot really, really, really cool. Felt very much like the original, like with the way the dogfighting was filmed and portrayed. And yeah, it was fun. It was fun. How do we feel about Ahsoka in a spacesuit?
The tailored spacesuit that
That was
has
awesome.
the perfect points for all of her.
That was sick.
I actually giggled a little bit when I was like,
same.
wow, this is like.
Same.
Well, it's cool that she had one that was tailored towards her, because it's not the first time we've seen her in a spacesuit and do something like that.
Okay, that was well. I was gonna say, to me, I was like, have we ever seen somebody in a spacesuit in Star Wars? Like, I
It
feel like
happened multiple times in the Clone Wars,
okay,
but there was specifically, and it's early on in the first season, if I'm not mistaken. It's like the 5th or 6th episode. Like, it's not far in. She a couple, if I remember correctly, a couple Star Destroyers come. Well, I guess they're not Star Destroyers yet, but a fleet come and destroy a few squadrons of troops, and her old master, what's his name?
I know. I was thinking about him because I remember that episode. I remember watching that episode.
Anyways, he's there. He's like
Plo Koon.
Yes.
I just thought
Yes.
about it before I went.
Yes. He's like lost in space, and he's with a few other clones, and he's, they're just trying to survive because they're like losing oxygen in these escape pods. But they're like, these droids are like coming around and like searching the asteroids for these escape pods to kill them. And like you like see it. And Clone Wars is not for kids. I watched it when I was a kid, but it was not for kids.
Yeah, I know, right?
It really isn't.
And as it goes, it's even more.
It gets worse and worse. Yeah. No, there's like suicide and all sorts of stuff.
There's a lot. Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff. And so they're like, you like see them like go and like blow pods up left and right of like clones and different people. And, they get close to, and like Anakin and Ahsoka are looking for the pods, but like they don't know where to look. And like there's no energy traces because they don't have any oxygen. Like, so they're like looking, and they get kind of close, and they see it, but they can't blow it up with blasters because they also kill everyone inside. So they hop in their spacesuits and they jump out, and she fights just like she did in episode 3 and kills off a bunch of droids before they blow up her former master.
It's such a cool shot. She's literally deflecting.
Oh yeah,
from a
space.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
she's never done
That's
that
so
before.
Cool. That's so
yeah,
cool.
it was
super
cool. It was cool. And then she was like floating, and they just whipped the ship around to catch her.
Mhm.
And,
Yeah.
which is cool.
Let's talk about how calm she still was floating away. And she's like, can you just come and get me, please?
Yeah.
Like,
But I mean, it's
just totally chill.
it's
about
awesome
the whole thing.
how we kept talking about how stoked she is in this, and it also just proves how strong she is at this point.
Mhm.
Just in general, not only obviously being trained by Anakin, but just everything that she's experienced up until now. Like
There's like
the fact that she could do that.
we talked about last time. I think like there's just has that confidence. It's so deep confidence in like her abilities, the Force, everything that you just kind of like, yeah, I got
She's
this.
secure.
Whatever. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she went toe to toe with Darth Vader, which I kind of hope that's the flashback scene. Now knowing that they recreated the ending of Rebels,
that would be
so
cool.
sick.
Oh wow.
Is that the one?
Oh, go ahead.
Well, sorry, it was just real quick. Is that the one? Because I remember watching that clip. Is that when she does like cut off half his helmet and then realizes it's Anakin? Okay,
Like that's because he says, "I killed Anakin,"
right.
and then she says, "I'm gonna avenge my former master" or whatever, and then she cuts off and she realizes
it's like a
Anakin.
part of his
Yeah.
helmet.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
No. Okay.
Such a good scene. Would
Yeah.
love to see
That
it in
would
live
be
action.
amazing. Yeah, live action.
What I was gonna say was it was cool to see when they finally, the two of them clicked, like when the dogfight scene started, and they were like bickering still and not like working in tandem, and they were trying to do their own thing each.
All because of Hu Yang.
Yeah, and then when they finally decided, and it was more Ahsoka like being like, "Oh, let me just support her instead of trying to," and then allowed them to like actually work together, and and start winning.
They got their rhythm back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got the
They got their
back.
groove back. Yeah.
Hu Yang was like, you got it. One of you's got to take the initiative. And I was like, yeah, he's right. And then it went great.
When he powers down, then when he comes back on, and he's like, "Hey, what did I miss?" They're like, "Yeah, we almost just died," and he's like, "Okay, cool."
He's like standard protocol.
Standard protocol.
Exactly.
Standard Jedi protocol.
He also missed the space whales though.
He did,
the
but then
Purgle.
like it was kind of cool because he brought up the space whales, and she's like, "Oh, just like the ones we saw," and he's like, "What?"
I know he didn't even get to see him. Yeah,
That was my favorite part. The Purgles like just flying all over the place.
Mhm.
It was so cool. It looked so good too.
So- For the people that don't know, that's literally Claudia's two favorite things: is space and whales.
I
so
love
the
whales.
fact that
They have,
It was just so.
but they have like
so awesome.
tentacles on the back of them, like a
The
squid
back.
almost. Like
Mhm.
yeah. But they're definitely cool. But and the way that they were maneuvering in that was so cool. Like to lose.
I like the scene where they're going like because the tentacles are kind of like opening and then they'll close back down, and the ship's going through as it's like starting to close at the end. That was a cool shot.
Yeah.
I really like that.
I know exactly which one.
I was
Yeah.
kind of worried for a second because I remember talking about him in the last episode because I thought I saw him in the sky when Balin was looking up where they were at that altar. And I was like, I feel like I saw them faintly in there. And then I'm like, man, if that really wasn't there, I was going to be bummed. But I'm glad that we got to see him in this. Even though we did see him, like I said, in Mandalorian.
Right.
But I didn't know when they would be coming in this. But yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah, it was cool. It was good scene. And then we had to kind of take a emergency landing
Yes.
on the cool planet with the said what'd you just call it?
Ruins.
Yeah, well, we were calling it ruins, but he called it something else. Altar.
Altar?
He called it altar.
Oh, I don't know
but
what it
whatever it
exactly is. Yeah.
Yeah, they had to land there, hide in the very red trees.
This was the same planet you were talking about where you said you really liked the... Yeah.
Same
Yeah.
planet, yeah. And then we end on they're gonna go chase him for him in the
They're looking for him.
yeah, and then it's just cut to black.
And then you're like, oh, the episode's over.
Yeah, that was
It's quick,
short.
but the whole fight in space was
Long.
really long.
Yeah.
And it was, but it never felt like I'm like, man, this is too long.
No,
like,
no,
it
no.
was
It didn't
great.
feel drugged out.
No,
it just
no.
a lot of stuff happened. Of course, we briefly get to see the big Ring of Zion.
Ring of Zion.
The ring.
He changed the name
The Ring
every
of Zion.
time.
I don't know.
It was Eye of Sion, and then now it's the Ring of Zion.
the Eye of Zion is what it's called. That is actually what it's called.
Is it?
Yeah, last week, yeah.
Oh, right, because you said Eye of Sauron. Okay,
Well,
but it
yeah,
is Sion. Oh, actually, I didn't know that was the actual name.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
the actual
Okay.
name.
All right.
But it's like so close to
It is.
I
Yeah.
know.
the
It's way
Eye
too
of
close.
Sauron. That like I'm like, come on, guys, really?
Do I sense some beef forming between Shin and Morgan Elsbeth? Because remember when they're in
Oh,
that
really?
scene,
She's like, I'll finish him.
she's
off.
like, yeah, you didn't get him, so I'm gonna take over. And you can see her get like upset from like her.
Well, last episode, remember, she's like, well, have your like she's talking to what's his name? Balin. Yeah, and she's like, well, have your like minion, like almost like go take care
Yeah,
of it.
she was dismissive.
And she was
of her.
kinda-
There's
yeah.
mad
So
beef
I think,
going on.
I think you're right.
between the two.
Well, when she says have your minion, like he's like, she like or no, because she tells Shin to do it, and then Shin looks to Balin, and Balin's like, listen to her, kind of like as if it was just coming from me, and like I think that ticked her off a little bit.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the only thing, because then like, yeah, because she didn't take care of Ahsoka when they were chasing them, but then obviously Morgan didn't end up finishing him off, and so then that's why she came back swinging.
Yeah. You could see it in her face that she was really annoyed.
Mm-hmm.
So what do we think next episode? What do we think we're gonna?
Where's your theory?
What's your theories?
Where's your theory
I
take
got-
place?
I could do that whenever. I was just waiting because I'm going to go on for a while about
Okay.
that. But then the form thing also, I have something about that too from the beginning scene. But yeah.
Next episode. I mean, looking forward to it. It's really kind of hard to say where it's going to go because we're kind of like just in the middle of stuff going on already.
Will they get out alive?
No, they're gonna die. All of them.
Everyone's
dead.
It's crazy though that next week's will be already halfway.
So there's 8.
Yeah.
Oh,
I know. And so I feel like it's got to at least have, so from the trailer, the scene of Ahsoka fighting Balin, that's got to be next week, right? Did you see that in the
Probably.
trailer?
I didn't watch that trailer probably because I don't know. I might have watched like the first trailer when they first, and then after I'm like, well, I'm gonna watch it. I don't need to watch any more trailers.
Because I have noticed, especially with Star Wars, with the Star Wars shows, when they do the trailers, all the scenes are from pretty early in the season. They don't really ever put in late stuff.
Yeah, they try to.
So I imagine, which is exciting because then, except for no, I think they did show Anakin very briefly in the trailer, didn't they?
I think so.
For Ahsoka.
Well, we don't know when we'll get that flashback. It might be next episode.
I can't wait for that flashback when it does happen.
I know.
So what other rants do you have there? Star Wars fanboy?
I don't want to. I know. I didn't want to take up too much time because this one's going to take a while. Because I have a theory, but also I have a thing about the beginning when they're talking about the different stances.
This episode might end up being as long as the last one, and we covered 2.
I was thinking that. I was like, we've been here a while.
Well, hey, if it gets you guys thinking, this will be cool because
All right.
there's some stuff. But I don't know. Anyone
Let's
have
hear
anything
it.
else? Before
No,
I
no,
didn't want
no.
to. No?
No.
Okay.
I think I already heard this theory though. Didn't you already break this down to me?
I talked about the theory with you, but
Save it for the pod.
I know.
Disappointed.
No, I didn't go into all of it. I just mentioned it to her because
Gotcha.
I had to show her. I had to find a picture because she was not familiar with the character, and I had to show her what I was talking about. But let me go into the other thing first because this will actually then go into the theory. So they briefly mention the different Jedi forms, right, in the opening scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because he's teaching her one, and
Mm-hmm.
then she says something about another, and then he's like, "Nah, she can't do that."
And I love just the scene just for that alone, even though the whole training part was great too. But just because actually talking about that kind of stuff doesn't happen at least that much in Star Wars that I've noticed. Maybe it does more in the animated stuff. I'm not sure. But so there's 7 different forms, and
It's a good number.
it is, yeah. And so I'm gonna go through each of them because it's interesting to see how they are and who uses the particular stances over at least with these characters and some of the other characters. So first one is Shi-Cho, which is the stance that all Jedis learn first. So this is kind of like the beginning one. I don't know. I'm trying to remember which one she actually mentions in the episode.
Jedi 101.
Basically, yeah. Like everyone.
Basic training.
Yeah, basically. And then, so eventually then they do move to a different one. So, but everyone starts with that one first. Now, I don't know on the Sith side, I'm not sure if it's different. It probably is. Then form 2 is Makashi. So it's a careful and controlled strikes is kind of that moveset. And so that is specifically Count Dooku, who does that kind of stance. Form 3 is Sarisu, so it's a deflective stance. This is Obi-Wan and Kanan Jarrus. So Kanan is, I guess you're not familiar with. So
No,
he was one of
but-
the main in Rebels.
Yeah.
And who fathered the child?
Apparently, I didn't know he even got together with Hera. So that apparently
They
happened.
made it happen.
They did. They made
He
it
knew
happen.
what he wanted.
Well,
Yeah, he did.
See, and I made the joke last week that Obi-Wan, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It wasn't Obi-Wan. It was.
I know. That's
Yeah.
yeah. And if they ever did Kanan a live action, it's like it'd be awesome if Ewan McGregor could do it, but it would just be weird now at this point.
Yeah.
He couldn't do it.
No.
No one would be able
No,
to.
you
Yeah.
can't.
And isn't it Freddie Prinze Jr. I think does the voice of Kanan?
What?
Oh, he can't. He wouldn't.
No.
They would
No,
they
but
would use
it's
him.
weird. When I looked it up, I was like,
That's
really
so
him?
weird.
I think it's him. I want to say.
It's
so
right. He
random.
does do a lot of voice work.
Does he?
I think,
Okay.
yeah.
So form 4 is Ataru, so it's aggressive and acrobatic, and this is Yoda in the prequels when he's flipping all over the place. That's him.
Acrobatic.
So this is the most interesting one. So it's Xian and Jim So, I want to say. So it's kind of a combination of two. So Xian is more distance. Jim So is defensive close combat. And this is both Anakin and Ahsoka's stance. And I'll get back to that one because that has to do with my theory a little bit later. Neiman is form 6, defensive stance with a combination of force powers. This is Darth Maul's stance. Form 7 is Juyo, the most unstable of all the stances, channeling your emotions for an all-out assault, and that's Mace Windu. And so I was looking into these more just because I was curious who kind of has what, and you can kind of, when I was thinking about my theory with this is, so this is specifically has to do with, is it Marok? How do you pronounce it? The Inquisitor we were talking about.
Mm-mm.
Hold on. Merrick? I think it's Merrick.
Inquisitor-looking person.
Right.
Yeah.
So my theory is about, Merrick. So the guy,
with the helmet on.
yeah, which
Darth Knight.
Yeah. Yes.
so I thought, Darth Knight, yeah.
Nothing shall pass.
And so I thought about this actually before we watched episode 3, and I was like, man, I hope they don't like reveal him in this one. So if my theory is any good or not, but they didn't. But what's really cool is you do hear him talk in this one. It's the first time, yeah. Which is, it's heavenly. Wow, I can't say that. Heavily, not heavenly, heavily. Modulated, so you don't really know, So I think this person, and I saw this a little bit online, and I was trying to think about it and expand on it. So this character could possibly be Starkiller, which is a really. Do you know who that is?
That would be wild.
I know.
You mean
I was wondering if anyone would know.
Starkiller Base?
No.
It was also not named after him.
Had to say it.
I was wondering if you play that game or if you're familiar with that character.
I'm familiar with the character. I have actually, unfortunately, I don't think I've ever played the game.
So
No, I haven't.
So he was first introduced in The Force Unleashed 1 and The Force Unleashed 2. So they made
No, I
two
did play
video
it.
games.
I did play it.
You did?
Yeah, I played the second one, I think.
But not the first one?
I don't. Dad had one of them, and
Okay,
it was
so
on the
did
Wii.
you play him?
It was the first one.
It was the first one. Okay, so I played the entire first one.
Okay, so do you remember playing that game?
I do remember playing it. I don't remember a guy looking like that, though.
It's amazing.
No.
He was not
He doesn't
gonna
look like that. But
Mm.
the character you're playing as,
The
that's
main
Starkiller.
character,
that's
Yes.
Starkiller.
Oh, I don't remember him being called that either.
Starkiller? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he has a real name. So
Yeah, he has
his
a real name. Yeah.
Galen Merrick,
Yeah.
which is
Yes.
interesting. Merrick is similar to Marok or whatever they're calling this guy right now.
Gotcha.
But that's his
I should
actual
play
name.
that again.
Dude, it's sick. I really wish
I've
they
never
would
played the second one.
remaster
I
it.
should just play the second one. Oh, that would be.
I know. I wish, because it's like PS3. I can't even.
Could you
play
imagine
it right
VR?
Yeah.
Oh man.
It was always so much fun. That game, it was fun to use the Wii to like move
Mm-hmm.
and lift people up with the force, and like it's awesome. It was just fun because of the motions and stuff.
We should have it on the Wii.
We still have it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So what's crazy about this is, so the way that first game starts, actually, you play as Darth Vader, and you go to Kashyyyk, and you find this boy.
Mm-hmm.
This is Starkiller. Do you remember this?
Playing as Darth Vader at the
Yep.
beginning though is so awesome.
Mhm.
But then, as Starkiller evolves,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
the
a really
way his
good.
powers work and the way he fights is just so the way I would fight if I
I
was
know.
a Sith.
Dude, he's such a good character, and both those games are really good stories. But yeah, so basically Vader finds him there as a boy. So he was born on Kashyyyk, takes him, and he's basically trains him. So it's essentially he has a secret apprentice, which is Starkiller. And so the actor that plays and did the mocap for Starkiller, Sam Witwer. Do you know who that guy is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He also did the voice of Darth Maul in Clone Wars and Rebels.
Mm.
He's a really good actor. So this I did not find out. Someone else found out, so I'm not taking credit for this part, but someone saw that he is in the credits, Sam Witwer, as just additional voices right now. But there's a different person, which could just be the person that's under the armor. There is a name, I can't remember his name, that's actually says is playing Merrick right now, the guy. What's crazy is, so Starkiller is so powerful. This is the only thing that would be a problem if they actually bring him in. Like, I love this series because I would just love to see him in live action, but he's like on the level of Vader. So like they would almost have to nerf him to some extent.
They would definitely have to nerf him.
Yeah. But I just really want to see him in this, and the fact that apparently he's in the credits, I'm like, man, I hope this comes true because he's such a great character. He also, how cool would it be thinking about, because they fight, so both apprentices of Vader fighting each other.
I mean,
how sick is that?
You gotta think about like, he fights like if he was Ahsoka, but never had to deal with any of the Jedi restrictions while training. That's exactly how he's so unhinged in a way, but like his form is so, like, I don't. It's hard to remember because I played the game when I was like 13, probably.
So
it was
and
a while
does,
ago, but
and he does form 5 just like Ahsoka,
right?
In Vader. But what's crazy is when I looked up his character to find out a little bit more about him that I didn't remember from the games, is he actually mastered all 7 forms, which is insane.
He did,
yeah,
dude.
So even more reasons, like if you bring it in,
so you're
like,
saying it's the guy with the helmet on.
Yes.
Might be him. He didn't seem to do much though when Ahsoka fought him at the end.
Yeah, that's
he might
true.
have just been holding back.
Yeah, and I, that's the only thing I'm not sure about, because I think there is a scene in the trailer where they are fighting again in a different location, and I'm wondering, I don't know.
The question is like, I mean, he could just be laying low though.
Yeah,
I mean, Darth Vader, like the whole Empire just kind of came down. You know, he might just be like, let me throw on this helmet, let me throw on this, and I know I'm not going to get hurt if I go into line of work where these people think they can handle it because I'm significantly stronger than them, and I'll figure out where I need to be, because he's also always been pretty smart. Like he was an intelligent Sith. He didn't act on emotion too much.
Yeah,
which is uncommon for a Sith, because you tend to become a Sith because of hate or fear.
Let's give in to the hate.
So yeah, that's the only thing is, I guess the way he fought in that scene against Ahsoka is not really, which again, like you said, he could just be intentionally like laying low and not trying to.
Wait, because if you think about it, during that fight, technically he never lost any ground. He never gave her an opportunity to like do any damage, but also he never intentionally struck Ahsoka. So, and it looked like he did a couple times, but also his moves were kind of sluggish and.
Yeah. And so what's cool is, Ahsoka's stance, she kind of is more like this. So he's like this. So the sabers are actually behind it. He holds it. So still kind of similar to Ahsoka, which is really cool. But obviously that's way different than how
Although he did use force powers while fighting, which is the first of.
Did he?
Didn't he? Didn't he use like, it was like one.
I don't know.
He did one like push.
Oh, yeah. I think you're right. Yeah.
And like, you haven't seen that yet from anyone on their side.
Yeah, I don't know. If it's
an interesting theory.
If it's
Would be
someone
cool,
else,
but highly unlikely.
I don't know
would
how
say.
they would do it. Yeah, I know. I just really want to see, and it would be awesome if it was Sam Witwer playing him. Since
why don't we just get a Star Killer show?
His own show, that'd be even better.
That'd be so awesome.
I know.
Just redo those games as a series.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is
Or, like,
he did the mocap for it. So, and they actually modeled his face just like the way he looks. They didn't really change it at all. So, yeah, I'm just wondering if it's not him, what voice did he do in this? Because he is in the credits. So, I don't know. Also, the heavily synthesized voice that you do hear in this episode, it does sound kind of similar to his voice because his voice is very deep. The actor.
True.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway. All right, everyone else can talk now. I'm done now. That's just
Well,
I want to throw it out there.
I think
that's it.
I think everyone's good. I think
don't have anything
we're all good.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you for watching, and you can follow us on Instagram and subscribe on YouTube at Screen Time Pod. And you can, if you have any questions or feedback, you can email us at feedback@screentimepod.com. And we'll talk to you next week.